Y'all are now 10-2 in your last 12 games. What do you attribute the ascent of this program to?
Yeah, I did not know that stat. That sounds good though. 10-2. There's my agent over there. You can take over for him.
As frustrating as today was, does it all make you question the decision to coach out the rest of the season?
Never. Not even a thought.
Trying to get players to do the right thing, and we use playing time and opportunities in football to try to get them to do the right thing personally and academically. So that's basically all I got to say about that.
Coach, that's all we got.
But you guys are really good about taking roll. I will say that. I mean,
our team fighting plays the way they do because they believe in what we're doing and who we are. They believe that we had an opportunity to come here and win a football game. That's the way that they played for 3 quarters. Didn't have enough in the fourth quarter to go get it done.
Oh, welcome in to the latest episode of that SEC podcast. I'm your host, Michael Bratton. I go by SEC Mike on Twitter, and I'm joined as always by my cousin Shane, who goes by Big Orange Balls on Twitter. What are you up to, you big Tennessee homer? Happy Thanksgiving, baby! Yeah, happy Thanksgiving to you too, brother, and to all the listeners out there. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see my spread out. We got the little set here decorated. It's going to be hard to make my pick, Shane, when I got all this delicious food right in front of my face, but I'm going to do my best to get it done. You know what?
Oh my God, man! And I'm dragging a little bit because I've already had the first round of Thanksgiving, and I got that turkey. I don't know what that famous, I don't know what they call it. That there's something in the turkey. It makes you sleepy or whatever. Yeah, hell, I'm all up in it, Mike. I've had about 4 big old pieces of it. So I love this. Is my favorite time of year, Mike. I love the food. I love your spread. It's unique. We don't do ham. We do ham on Christmas. We don't do ham during Thanksgiving. Let's take me around your plate here. Is this a typical Thanksgiving plate now?
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm not a big turkey guy, but you can't. It's not Thanksgiving if there's not some turkey there. So
right.
We got turkey. We are a ham family, as you noted there. So I usually go a little bit heavier on the ham, to be honest with you. I got macaroni. How can you go wrong there? We got mashed potatoes. We got rolls. We got yams. Sweet potatoes. You got to have that with the marshmallows on it. Otherwise, it ain't Thanksgiving without them stupid marshmallows. And then I got a little pie here. I got it's a blueberry pie.
Listen, Mike, I'd eat that spread if it were in front of me, but we do things a little bit different down here in the South. For starters, I don't touch the marshmallows. We are a sweet potato casserole family, and when I say casserole, I mean streusel. I want to taste more brown sugar than I do actual canned yams in this situation, so that's usually what we go with. Of course, we got a little fancy. We got the canned cranberry sauce. I saw that wasn't on there. So, yeah, we sliced it just nice. I'll try to think what else. Deviled eggs. Yeah, no, I got some hot water, Mike. I don't see it on your spread, but one of the things that I think is the worst dish, and don't tell your sister this, but is the green bean casserole. She used to make that every Thanksgiving, and I think it's absolutely horrid. It does not belong on a Thanksgiving table. Well, I made the mistake by putting that hot take out there, and believe it or not, a lot of people like that stuff.
Yeah, get them veggies off my plate here on Thanksgiving. You know what?
That's it, man. I've got my 1 to 2, 3 combinations that, you can't go wrong with a little turkey and sweet potato together. You can't go wrong with a little turkey and cranberry sauce together. You cannot go wrong with turkey and stuffing together. And I got that cheap stuff, Mike. I ain't fancy, but that's what I've got to have, a little mashed potatoes and gravy. Deviled eggs. Oh my gosh, you got to have some deviled eggs. But other than that, brother, that is Thanksgiving. And that's what I ate today. In fact, that's what I'm going to be eating the next 3 days, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that's the best part. I mean, we got this food the next couple of days, so enjoy it while we got it, while we got this outstanding football. So, hey, before we get...
Wait, before you go there, Mike, let me ask you, dessert, is that pie typically the one you're going with? Like you're eating your last Thanksgiving meal. I'm a pecan pie guy. What's the last slice of pie you want to eat?
Yeah, pecan pie's right up there for me. That's probably number one on my list, Shane, but I got to be dead honest with you. I could not find a small pecan pie. So blueberries all I could have here. This is not the real deal here. We got more desserts coming for sure, but since we're recording this a little bit early, I was not going to make one pie before the real pie gets made on Thanksgiving, if that makes sense.
I got you, brother. I love it. So,
all right, buddy. But hey, before we make our picks, got to mention the sponsors, Prize Picks, like we do every weekend. Proud to sponsor with PrizePicks.com. Head on over to Prize Picks, and don't forget to use that promo code SEC so they know we sent you over there. And anybody that uses that promo code, Shane, of SEC, they're going to get their initial deposit doubled up to $100. So you could be walking today with $200, and I'm on a heater, Shane, with my Prize Picks, and I got a couple more winners. You ready to hear them?
Absolutely, man. Like I said, 100% last week. I even tried to steer you wrong.
Well, there'll be no steering me wrong this week, Shane, because we got some action here, and I'm only sticking to the Thursday and Friday games because that's how confident I am in these picks. Okay. But I got Missouri quarterback Connor Bazelak under 224.5 passing yards against them Arkansas Razorbacks. Just not been thrilled with the way Bazelak's been playing here lately, and we all know Mizzou offense, it goes as Tyler Beatty goes. So I'm going the under Connor Bazelak.
Okay, all right, yeah. I mean, he may not even end the game. You never know with that situation.
Right. Now, how about this one? One I'm even more confident in here, Shane. Arkansas quarterback KJ Jefferson over 30.5 rushing yards. As you like to say, is this the first drive? I mean, come on now. He's going to get 31 rushing yards, don't you think?
Absolutely. Going to get that in one play, Mike. I think that's just the big play capability he has, and I think he exercises that during this rivalry game.
And then one more, Shane, really like this one. Under the radar here, Mississippi State running back Woody Marks over 35.5 receiving yards. Not rushing, but receiving. Mississippi State loves to go to the dump off with their running backs. He'll probably catch 7-8 passes. So I think 36 yards. I think that's a safe bet here in the Egg Bowl. What do you think?
Absolutely. Out of 60 tosses, surely he comes away with a couple of them here.
Yeah, to be honest with you, Shay, there was about 4 Ole Miss receivers and about 6 Mississippi State receivers you could bet on over at PrizePicks.com. I went with the guy that had the lowest number because they're probably all going over. You know what?
Absolutely. Everybody, speaking of Thanksgiving, everybody's getting fed during that game.
But all right, buddy, you ready to make our selections for this rivalry week edition of the show?
Let's do it.
All right, we got to start right where we picked off there, Shane. The Egg Bowl, maybe the biggest game of the weekend, not only in the SEC, but the country. Just what's at stake for these two, Mike Leach, Lane Kiffin, Matt Corral, Will Rogers, 2 improved defenses, one of the best games in the entire country every year, Shane. And the over-under, 64 total points. But here's the thing, Shane. The point spread has jumped back and forth. Ole Miss opened as the favorite. That thing is kicked all the way over to Mississippi State. The Bulldogs favored at home by 2.5 points. Who do you like in the matchup?
Oh, Mike, I've never looked forward to an Egg Bowl so much in my entire life. I mean, this is 2 teams right now playing the best football that arguably that Mississippi State as collective have done in my lifetime. That's just, I mean, sometimes they bounce back and forth. Who's good this year? Who's good that year? But this year, I'm afraid to play either one of these teams. They got 2 dynamic quarterbacks. They got 2 dynamic play callers. The defenses have even stepped up here of late. This is just a perfect game. This is a mirror. You want to talk about a mirror approach, that's these guys. You got Matt Corral all year long, trying to win that Heisman. Has had some very impressive games, but then here last few weeks, you're stepping up. You're looking at Rodgers and saying, man, maybe he's the guy. Look how efficient he is when you could throw 50 times and only have 2 incompletions. You know, that's the type of offense that the Pirate and them are bringing to this game. So I'm with you, Mike. I went back and forth in this thing trying to figure out who I thought was going to win on that last possession. And I flip-flopped a few times. But there's a couple of factors for me, Mike, is how bought in is Ole Miss? I mean, we've seen them here, the ranked ninth. You know, I doubt there's really a shot for them to get in the college football playoffs. You got Matt Corral already sending the letter off. We got rumors of Lane Kiffin going to these different universities and talking to these different players. And you know, how bought in is he with Ole Miss? That's my biggest concern, is just the outside noise. You know, the something that he likes to talk about with Nick Saban, that rat poison. How much is that leaked into that locker room? That's my biggest fear, because I think if these guys are playing week 3 and they're undefeated, I like Ole Miss, and I like Ole Miss big. However, we're not week 3. We're at the tail end of this thing, and I don't know how serious they're taking this rivalry. Mississippi State, on the other hand, buddy, they got one team on their mind, and it is the Ole Miss Rebels. Them damn fans have been packed. I mean, they probably got tents out there, man. Looks like a Black Friday sale, you know. These guys are pumped up, ready to get in there. They got these new cowbells. They're ready to chime. I like Mississippi State to win this game, brother. I don't like them to win it by much, but I like them to win it, ironically, by a field goal. So give me Mississippi State and the points, 38, Ole Miss, 35.
Well, Shane, I think you made a lot of good points there. I think it's going to be a close one. Home field advantage should play major factor with this game. We just had Jake Wimberly on the show. If you missed it, go back and watch yesterday's episode. His analytics say Mississippi State, just like you did there. Will Rogers. You know, it's so wild, Shane, because all season we've been hyping up Matt Corral, best quarterback in not only the SEC but the country. Now, anytime I mention Ole Miss or Matt Corral on Twitter now, all these Bulldog fans saying, well, hell, he's second best quarterback in this game. And they may be right the way he's playing. I mean, the video game numbers he's putting up in this thing, I think, the winner of this game is going to have a great case for SEC Coach of the Year. Everybody keeps asking me who that is. I'll reveal I'm going to do that next week, Shane, when things slow down. Coach of the Year, Players of the Year, all that. But we got to let these rivalry games play out before those final calls are made.
Yep.
And, man, you hit the nail on the head, Shane. I'm going back and forth all week. Who's going to win this game? And I keep hearing cowbells in my ear when I'm thinking about this damn game and how big of a factor that could play in this one. But let me ask you this, Shane. In a tight ball game, don't you typically go with the team that has the kicking edge? Don't you go with the team that's a little bit more balanced? And here's a key factor in the game, Shane, with Mississippi State the last couple of weeks that's really helped Will Rogers and that offense get going. No pressure whatsoever getting on him. He's having a clean pocket out there. And to his credit, some of that's just, the offense is designed to get the ball out of his hands really quick. Yet, Ole Miss, number 2 in the SEC with 37 sacks. So, we all get enamored with the offenses in this matchup. I think the key is going to be these defenses, which one steps up. And I think, Shane, it's them Land Sharks going to get to Will Rogers, be the difference in this game. Like I said, the kicking advantage could be huge. It could go either way. I mean, I got no fault with your pick, but I'm going Ole Miss, Shane, on the road, upset 33-30. And let's hope for some shenanigans here. You know what?
Well, we're going to have it, man. I think Lane came out with a tweet earlier this week, or maybe a message he was talking about. You shouldn't hate these people just because of your rivalry. Yep. But I'm telling you right now, these guys hate each other, Mike. There's going to be some
that was the
fights
least
at the end of
popular
this game.
thing he's ever said down there. You know what?
Oh, my God. Yeah, boy, that tweet backfired on him right there. These guys absolutely hate each other. So, and I love to hate. You know what I'm saying? saying? This is a game that I love watching so much just because of how bitter these two programs are. So, yeah, it's going to be a fantastic game. We're going to be eating round 2 of my Thanksgiving meal stuffed and watching this good-ass football. So I'm all in, man.
All right, next matchup, Shane, here on Friday, Black Friday. Missouri at Arkansas on CBS, 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central. Missouri's won 5 in a row in the series, but this one's in Razorback Stadium. And the Razorbacks, Shane, big favorites, 14.5-point favorite. 62.5 is the over-under. And last year, of course, Mizzou won 50-48 on a last-second field goal. So who you got in the matchup?
Oh, Mike, I tell you what, Mizzou has won some ugly games here of late. It hasn't been pretty, but they keep finding a way to win. I think that's one of those stats that just don't exist out there, you know, ugly wins. We always want to talk about time of possession or turnover margin. You just don't talk about, hey, when it's time to play, you roll up your big boy pants and you get in there and you win the game. That's exactly what Missouri has been able to do. Mike, last week, they pulled off a defeat of the Florida Gators, man. This was a huge win for them. Not only was it getting the monkey off their back, but it put them in the bowl season. So now the pressure's off. You don't have to win this game. And I think that's the concern I'm having going into this week. I mean, you think about the hangover factor. Sometimes when you have a loss, it just kind of lingers around. Sometimes it could be the opposite, man. Sometimes you can celebrate a little too long. That old, hey, 24-hour rule, when your coach is out here tweeting like crazy, talking about what he did Saturday, that's a concern to me when it's midweek, especially when you got a game right around the corner on Friday. Everything changes on these short games. People are going to be a little bit more tired, and that was a physical game. When I look at these two programs, man, they are not the same. This is another one, man. These guys hate each other. I'm seeing the tweets. I'm seeing the message boards. I'm seeing the activity here. The snide comments. This is the stuff that we're going to be talking about for weeks, just about what comes out of this game. What I like about this game, Mike, is KJ Jefferson, what he's kind of blossomed into. He's blossomed into a hell of a quarterback in the SEC. I like the running game. I think this is something that they kind of got away with early in the season, and they finally found, and they made themselves two-dimensional. And when they did that, they go toe-to-toe with teams like Alabama. That's what I like about the Arkansas Razorback. This is a hell of a program, Mike. Yeah, they got 4 losses, but they're still a top 25 team because of the body of work that they've been able to put in this season. Now, that being said, Mizzou's gotten lucky the last couple of weeks, and they've been good. Like I said at the start of this, they've found ways to win games. But when it comes down to it, brother, I just think Arkansas has too much. It's at home. They hate each other. CBS game. Come on, Gary. Put on that Razorback hat because I think they're going to win this one. I've got the score, Arkansas 30. Mizzou, 24. I think it's closer than the experts say. Ooh. What was it, 14.5, something like that? So give me Mizzou with the backdoor spread here. What is that?
Yeah,
is that a thing? Backdoor spread. All right, maybe we edit that part out. Backdoor cover. I said turkey spread, Thanksgiving spread. Those two don't go together, Mike. So go ahead and edit that one out if you can. What the hell these dogs barking at?
Interesting point there, Shane, on Missouri and, the kind of letdown factor. I had not really considered that because, to be honest with you, I was thinking it the other way. Arkansas, just laying it all on the line, playing with their hearts out against Alabama, going toe-to-toe with the mighty Crimson Tide. How easy will it be for them to turn around and get up for the Missouri Tigers? But, we saw Traylon Burks get blasted there on the onside kick. I'm not saying they say he's good to go, but, any lingering effects there. Connor Bazelak also kind of dinged up. So we may have 2 battered teams here meeting on the field on Friday. But, if I'm just looking at this game at face value, Arkansas should whoop Missouri. I really think they should. But I think this is maybe a little bit of a case where Missouri's in Arkansas's head. The fans don't want to admit that this is somewhat of a rivalry. They think less of Missouri. They don't even think they should be in the SEC, yet they can't beat them, and they steal their coaches, they steal their players, they steal their recruits. I mean, this feels like a rivalry to me. And what is the greatest sign of a rivalry, Shane, is the back and forth nature of some of these games. And under Drinkowitz, under Sam Pittman, they're both talking it up. So I think this is going to be a back and forth contest, Shane. If Connor Bazelak was not dinged up, if he was playing better, I may pick Missouri to win this game. But I just can't do it, Shane. I think at the end of the day, as good as Tyler Beatty is, I think Arkansas will do a good job corralling him. Where Arkansas's defense is at the weakest is in the secondary. And the front seven is the strength. So they should be able to do their part to limit Tyler Beatty, get themselves a win. But I don't think it's going to be easy, just like you said. I got Arkansas 31, Missouri 17. So I got the Tigers covering the spread, but Arkansas finally snapping that streak at home.
The old backdoor spread got it again. Huh? Hey, let me ask you. I was wondering. I joked about Gary coming out to this thing. Do you know who's commentating? I know it's 3:30 CBS. I didn't know if they were going to try to save the golden voice to Saturday or not. But do you know if he's going to be doing both of them?
No. So Gary and Brett, they'll be doing the Iron Bowl.
Oh, okay.
And then this Friday, it'll be Aaron Murray, Rick Neuheisel, and the other guy. They got a 3-teamer. Oh,
okay. All right. That's good. I didn't know if we had a doubleheader coming up. I'm just warning the fans.
one Gary Danielson a game a week is all most people can take. You know what?
That's right.
All right, Shane, how about this one? Georgia on the road, although not really. There's going to be more Georgia Bulldog fans than anything. At Georgia Tech in Atlanta. Them Bulldogs, Shane, 35.5-point favorite. And now how crazy is this? The over-under is 54.5, so basically expecting a shutout here. Georgia's won 3 in a row in the series, while Georgia Tech, they've lost 5 in a row, Shane. Last week, the Yellow Jackets lost 55-0 to Notre Dame. Who you got in the matchup?
Mike, there's a reason this game's being played at noon. You know what I'm saying? It's because
this may be one of them pay-per-view games. You know what?
It's been a while since we've seen one of those, right? I'm surprised this thing's on ABC, man. This is going to be a bloodbath. I mean, I know there's been years past upsets, Georgia Tech and blah, 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 and these fun stories they're going to have for Vince Dooley and how he's, we're going to hear all that. But when it comes down to it, these are just two different teams, Mike. This is a team that you schedule for homecoming. This is a team that when you want to work out your kinks before the SEC championship, you're glad you got it on the schedule. That's exactly what this is. So I expect total domination here. Our boy Jordan, he may get 2 touchdowns in this game. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to be pretty. It's going to be over at half. The main thing for me, Mike, is I want to make sure that they stay healthy. We gotta work out any kink that we have, any flaw that you think your offense or defense is having, or even special teams. Well, this is the week that you want to work all that out. So that's all this is a glorified scrimmage. So give me Georgia Bulldogs big. I'm on the wrong sheet. I gotta get my calculator out on this one. All right, here we go. Georgia 42. Georgia Tech got a field goal, though, 3.
Ooh. Yeah, that 3 could come in huge there in Vegas, you know what? But we'll see about that. But, yeah, I mean, this game ain't really even worth discussing, Shane. I got 48-10. Georgia beating Georgia Tech. Not a whole lot I could go into here other than Georgia Tech's horrible. We all know Georgia's best team in the country. This is a kind of a pick-your-score type game, and I only got Georgia Tech scoring 10 because I think that'll come by the time Georgia's got their third string. We got to get some of the freshmen, and I'm not even talking about the 5-star freshmen. They're already on the field, but maybe the walk-on freshmen. We got to get them some playing time here the first time of the season. But let me ask you this, Shane, because this is something that kind of occurred to me leading up to this game. Last week, Georgia had Charleston Southern, another cupcakes. So we're finishing the year with 2 cupcakes. While we'll get to the Iron Bowl in just a second, Alabama is going to finish the season against Arkansas, who just gave them a fight for their lives. And you get into this, I don't care what the spread is in the Iron Bowl. Auburn's going to come at you, and they're going to make you pay. And it's going to be a physical game. It's going to be a tough game. How big of an advantage do you think this is for the Georgia Bulldogs next week going into that SEC championship having 2 cupcakes where the Crimson Tide are, facing 2 very, very tough physical teams before they reach Atlanta?
Well, I think it could go either way, Mike. I think either A, your boys are going to be extremely exhausted and tired and possibly injured because they gave everything they could against two big-time teams, while the other ones are extremely rested. But then part of me is like, well, you think I always think about NFL teams when I look at this. Some of these teams have gone undefeated or secured a bowl spot or a playoff spot, and maybe start sitting some of their starters. How many times do we see that and then they lose the first week they play? That's my concern, is the letdown factor. Okay, I don't really have to go 110% because it's just Southern, or I don't really need to focus so much in film study because it's just Georgia Tech. Anytime you take a couple of days off, that's like me, man. First time I didn't go to a gym, guess what? It was 15 years later. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you take a little time off, then you create bad habits, and that is a concern to have because it ramps up real quick in the SEC championship. So I don't know. I mean, this is a schedule that was made years ago. Georgia Tech, we didn't know what we were going to have, but this is what we have. We got to make the best of it. But that's one of the things the coaches got to do their due diligence in critiquing your body of work. If they feel like you are letting down, they need to let you know. And I will tell you, man, I don't think Kirby's going to be that. I mean, look how many times we hear these behind the scenes Kirby talking to his players. They know exactly what they're capable of doing. And also it creates that hey, we're better than. So when you come into a team playing like Alabama, you're not worried about them. They don't have that big brother mentality anymore because they just have destroyed every team that they've came in contact with this year. And I don't care any of the stats. Throw all that shit out. I saw one coming out like Clemson was the toughest ranked opponent that the Georgia's play in their 23rd or something like that. I was like, get out of here. Body of work, Georgia's not struggled against anybody. So what makes you think it's going to be any different this week? What makes you think it's going to be any different in the SEC championship? That's the mentality that this team has, and they need to continue to have. So to answer your question, Mike, I'd rather have a team full of healthy, untired studs than I would a team that has had to scrap and fight for their life the last 2 weeks.
And one last question for this game, Shane. Over or under on the percentage of the stadium Georgia fans? I'm going 75%. You going over or under that?
Absolutely. I'm going to go over. Is this thing even sold out? You know what I'm saying? I mean, unless they're giving away tickets there at the Walmart parking lot, this thing is going to be over. I mean, this is a good one to get your shopping in early, and then just check out the game and go home. So, this is one that you sleep through, okay?
Yeah, I got you. All right, how about this one, Shane? Florida State at Florida. This is going to be on ESPN at noon Eastern, 11 o'clock Central, right after College game day. The Gators favored by 2.5 points. The over-unders at 59 total points. And Florida leads the all-time series, 36-26. Who you got in the matchup?
Mike, this game, there's 3 teams that are not bowl eligible right now. The Florida Gators, the LSU Tigers, and the Vanderbilt Commodores. A list I thought I would never hear. A list that could change this Saturday, Mike, and it has to change within. It has to be these players. It has to be these fans not giving up. It has to be this coaching staff that's still there, getting the most out of the players. They're padding their resume. They're putting some game film out when they got to lead a team. Somebody has got to give us something this week because Florida State is not a good team. You know what I'm saying? The best athlete on that field for the Florida State Seminoles is that little Indian that comes out on that horse and he stamps that spear down in the field. That's the best athlete they've got in that locker room right now. Okay, and he doesn't wear a helmet, thank God. There's no reason the Florida Gators should lose to Florida State. There is no reason that this program, even without game prepping, shouldn't be able to come out and secure a win and move on to bowl season. This is huge, man. This buys your next coach more time. So I want to see them come out and play, brother. I want to see them play Gator ball. Just cut loose. You ain't got nothing to worry about now, okay? Your coach can't get fired again. So come out, have fun. I think that's the thing. Cut loose. I want to see an aggressive offense. One thing that drove me nuts about Dan was just how conservative he was at times with Emory. I think whoever takes over lets these kids play. I mean, they've got weapons. They've got running backs. They've got receivers. They've got tight ends. They've got all they need to move this ball up and down the field. So that's what I hope when these young coaches come in and say, hey, let's just let these boys play. So give me the upset because they got Florida, right? No. Florida's a favorite now, aren't they?
Yes, by 2 points.
Okay, well, I got them favorite by 10 points. How about that? Give me them Gators 31, Florida State 21.
Yeah, and I should have mentioned that, Shane. Like you said, Florida's playing for their bowl life. So is Florida State. So this is a do or die type game here in a rivalry. It sounds like Emory Jones out for the game. Emory Jones likely out for the game. It looks like it's going to be Anthony Richardson as long as he's healthy. Hell, that's the thing. We don't even know if he's really healthy. So, I mean, there's a outside shot. The number 3 quarterback is going to go. I don't think it's going to go quite that far for the Florida Gators. But this is a game, Shane, where Florida needs to show some pride. And they need to show up against their rival with so many interim coaches. They got injuries left and right. They're getting battered and bruised. They're not showing, it's kind of like you said, unleashed. They need to show that aggression because we've not seen that against Missouri and South Carolina and all these. Hell, I don't even think we saw it in Sanford for about half a game. So whatever it is that they need down there, they need to get their shit in order. Florida State's won 5 of the last 7, and they're 2-2 on the road. So this is a team that is capable of winning on the road. While Florida, their only loss at home was against Alabama, and that was, at the first month of the season. So, man, there's things to like about both these teams, but I hate to do it, Shane. I'm calling for the upset here. I think Florida State wins on the road against a Florida team. I just don't know how much heart they're going to show in this game. I hope they come out and whoop FSU up, but I just don't know if they get up for it with so much coaching turnover down there and all the drama, and they're all worried about who the next coach is going to be. I got Florida State 27, Florida 24.
Mike, why you hate the Florida Gators? Huh? Why do you hate them?
I mean, how can you pick Florida after losing to Missouri and South Carolina? Damn near lost to Sanford. I mean, they're losing to everybody.
I'm looking for the LSU approach here. You remember when Coach O came out and said, "Hey, we're too predictable"? I think Florida has become too predictable. And how do you fix it? You let the kids play. You get, like you said, more aggressive on defense. You go do some all-out blitzes. Who gives a shit if they pass it and get past you? Because 9 times out of 10 you're gonna catch them off guard. So I think that's the key. Just pin your ears back and have some fun, man. But I don't know. I think deep down inside you still hate the Gators for some reason. People don't know this. Thanksgiving, all right? Me and Mike, we've shared a lot of Thanksgiving meals together. Mike used to live in a little town down in Florida before he moved back up here to Tennessee. And when he moved up to Tennessee, who was your favorite team, Mike?
Florida State.
That's right.
I love Bobby Bowden.
Yeah, I know. I give you a hard time, but every time I hear you pick against the Florida Gators, I always think about that damn Seminole shirt you always wore.
Well, Bobby Bowden, he ain't on the sideline no more. You know what? So, and I will say this, Shane. If Florida State, if they can't beat this Florida team with all their injuries, with coaching situation where it is, they might as well fire that idiot they got down there, Mike Norvell, because he ain't never going to beat the Florida Gators if he can't beat them here. And who knows? Florida State might be looking for a coach before long because you're right, man. They suck too, but
Yeah.
hell, they're winning more than they've been losing here lately. Florida's the exact opposite. And I will say this, Shane, it's looking more and more. We've already kind of said it, but sounds like old Billy Napier is going to be the head coach down there. Right before we hopped on the line, there was a report from Pat Dooley down there. He's been covering the team for about 30 years. He says, look for Billy Napier to be named the coach Sunday or Monday down there in Gainesville.
Hey, let me ask you something because I'm just curious, playing devil's advocate here. Let's say Florida does win here and they make a bowl game and they hire Napier. Now, he can't coach that game, can he?
No.
Like, is he allowed to be around the team until the season's over, or like can he be in the facility? How exactly does that play out? He just has to wait till the season's over, or can he?
Yeah, my
recruit?
understanding is
yeah.
he can address the team. Obviously, he can meet with them, but I don't believe he can hold practices, and he can't coach in the game. Now, I don't know. I have no idea Louisiana how good they are. I think they're playing for their conference tournament, so I would think it'd be one of those deals where if they are, he's probably going to stay for the conference championship game, which would be a week from now. So, he may be named the coach and start recruiting for the Gators, but he may have to stay there in Louisiana for a couple days.
Okay. Yeah, I was just wondering how that would play out. So would it be? You think it'd be beneficial they hit a bowl, or do you think it would be beneficial they didn't, so he could get on campus sooner?
Yeah, it's almost like it'd almost be more beneficial if they didn't, because you want those guys to get extra practices, I guess, but it wouldn't be. It'd be in the old system, so
right.
they could get some tackling drills in, but I don't know. I'm sure the players want to. Who knows where they're going to go, but they get prizes and gifts and all that. I'm sure they'd love to get that, but at the same time, if they get sent to the Birmingham Bowl, we may have some opt-outs or something. You know what I mean?
That's true. That's true. I was just curious, man.
All right, Shane, how about this one? The Iron Bowl, we teased it just a minute ago there. Alabama, 19.5-point favorite on the road in Jordan-Hare Stadium. The over-under, 55.5 points. Alabama won last year 42-13. Who do you like in a matchup?
Who do I like? Mike, I mean, come on now. I mean, I'd be crazy to get on here and tell you that the Auburn Tigers are going to upset the Crimson Tide. You'd call me nuts. They say Shay's drank too much of that damn eggnog already. Look at him. He's fell off the wagon. Brother, let me glaring fact here, okay? Nobody has beaten Nick Saban more than the Auburn Tigers. Think about this. Nick Saban hasn't won in Auburn in almost 6 years. Think about that stat for a second. And I'm not saying Auburn's had some great teams come through there. They haven't. Alabama always has. But they find ways to win games. And sometimes, they call it Miracle of Jordan-Hare for a reason. Because they weren't supposed to win the game. They're not supposed to win this game. Of course, Alabama's not playing the football that we're used to, Mike. Florida, you think about it. Even the Florida Gators, when they started, they started this trend that Alabama is human. Texas A&M was able to knock them off. Last week, Arkansas got within a touchdown of them. Tennessee was even up in the second half. So, this isn't the same Alabama team we've seen in years past. But they're still good, brother. They're still good. They're breaking records, man. They got about 15 receivers on that team that could start in the NFL tomorrow. It's just this team is riddled with talent. They just haven't really been able to put it together all this season. But I think they're getting closer, especially on the offensive side of the ball. I'm still worried about the defense, but the good news is Auburn's not that good on offense. So that's why I don't think this is really going to be a game. I hate to say it. It's the Iron Bowl. It's always fun to watch, but I think it's closer than the experts say. So I like Auburn with the points. However, I've got Alabama winning 35, Auburn 24.
Man, how many times, Shane, are we going to have to hear Gary talk up Bryce Young and these receivers? And we may have to mute the Iron Bowl this year if it goes according to how you just laid it out there, Shane. And I give Auburn a little bit more credit than you though, because I know they're dinged up. I know they're prideful. Their pride's hurting after blowing another double-digit lead. Brian Harsin, there's speculation how long he's even going to last at this point. We've covered all that, but I don't know, Shane. This is just one of those games where it doesn't matter the momentum of each side. Both these teams are going to show up. Like you said, Jordan-Hare Stadium, it's a wild place. Anything can happen. Of course, they've lost in Jordan-Hare to Mississippi State and Georgia this year, so it's not like the magic has not necessarily been there this year. Maybe a little bit different story if Bo Nix was playing, because he was, outside of that A&M game, he was having a really good year. Had he been healthy and playing in this one, I may have even picked the Auburn Tigers to pull off the upset. This has got to be the Tank Bigsby show. This team, Shane, it just reminds me of, I don't want to call them out and say they're mentally weak here, but, it just seems like if one or two things go wrong, it just, the house crumbles in on them. And that's what we've seen in recent weeks. And that's what Bryce Young, Jameson Williams, John Mechie, those receivers you mentioned, that's what they can do. B-Rob, Brian Robinson, the mini Jerome Buss back there at running back. I mean, those guys will punch you in the mouth. So Auburn's going to have to force some turnovers to stay in this thing. TJ Finley's going to have to play the game of his life. And believe it or not, Shade, I got the exact same score as you. So I think Auburn does keep it close, but in the end, Alabama will pull away. But again, like I said, if Bo Nix was playing this game, I might pick Auburn to win it, but he's not, obviously. So I'm going Alabama 35, Auburn 24, and I think Alabama, they're winning close. There's something to be said for that, but this just isn't the same old Alabama. If it was, I'd probably pick them to win this game by 3 touchdowns. You know what?
Yeah, it's a scary game to gamble on, in my opinion, because Alabama is one of those teams that you expect 3-4 score leads, but somehow they keep mismanaging and letting teams get back in it, not to win. But I'm just talking about gambling. So they're just a scary team to bet on right now. So I'm not going to put any money near this game. But let me ask you, what does Auburn have to do to win this game? I mean, if the stars are aligned, everything's perfect. What does Auburn need to do to keep Alabama's offense in check and maybe be a little bit more aggressive on that side of the ball? What do we need? What's the recipe?
I go back to the LSU tape, Shane. Remember that game? They were just blitzing the hell out of Bryce Young. They were knocking him around. They were getting to him. And that was an LSU team that was playing without their starting corners, cornerbacks, Ricks and Stingley, they're, out for the season. So it's not like they were just playing lockdown corners here and they couldn't do anything with it. So, that was the key issue there for Auburn against Mississippi State. Couldn't get to Will Rogers for whatever reason. Weren't putting on the blitz. You cannot sit back and let Bryce Young pick you apart because he'll do it. He's done it to everybody. I think you got to just study the hell out of that LSU tape, see what they did, and just come after him because that really seemed to rattle his cage a little bit. I think Arkansas tried to do some of that, but they just didn't have the same players that LSU does, and I think Auburn's got some of those guys. So that's the key on the defensive side of the ball, and on offense, it's got, like I said, it's got to be Tank Finley, man. Let's run him 30, 35 times in this one and just put the team on his back, and maybe he can get something done for you and limit the possessions that Alabama's going to have in this game.
Yeah, I like that.
All right, Shane, the game I know you've been waiting for here, Vanderbilt at Tennessee. Them Vols favored by 32.5 points. And this is the strangest kickoff time I've ever seen, Shane. 3:45 Eastern, 2:45 Central on the SEC Network. Last season, Tennessee won 42-17. And the over-under, I don't know if I said this, 62.5 points. What do you like in the matchup?
345. That's a good score prediction right there, if you ask me, Mike. I got to give him Commodores a hard time because, buddy, I tell you what, you don't think there's a lot of Vanderbilt fans out there until they win, and especially when they beat a rivalry like Tennessee. I've been in many a beehives where I've sent out a tweet thinking nobody in Nashville would notice. The next thing you know, I'm having to mute the conversation. So be careful, buddy. There's plenty of fans out there. You know, Vanderbilt last week played a fantastic game. Everybody's talking about how Ole Miss underperformed. I think it was the opposite. I think it was Vanderbilt played above their bill here. I think the benefit to them coming in here to Tennessee and playing the Volunteers is the fact that they did play Ole Miss last week and they were able to keep a Heisman contending quarterback in check. That should be alarms, man, that Vanderbilt has the potential to upset the Tennessee Volunteers. Mm-hmm. But the problem is, Mike, Tennessee, yeah, you know, when I start talking about Vanderbilt, Shay's about to swing the other way because the Tennessee Volunteers have not been they've been playing fantastic football right now. Both sides, all three aspects. Special team, hell, we're returning kicks. Kicks are going in the end zone. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff going on that side of the ball. Our offense is humming. The defense is humming. Tennessee Volunteers look good. Heupel's coming out here. The players are pumped up. The fans are pumped up. You know, years past, this was a tricky game. This is one of those that you barely make a bowl. You're underperforming. Then you can never mark off Vanderbilt because they could always upset you. And I still think that. I've always said that about SEC. If you come into any game unprepared, you can lose. I just don't think Tennessee is going to come in unprepared because they have shown me they have been over-prepared for the last few games that they've come in contact with. So I like Tennessee to smoke the Vanderbilt Commodores, man. I think this is a blowout early and often. Give me Tennessee 49, Vanderbilt 14.
Ooh. Yeah, this game could be trouble, Shane, for other Commodores. And, the main thing, I like what I'm seeing from Mike Wright, the quarterback, more of the running option there for Vanderbilt. But that's kind of what you got to do when your offensive line is subpar, to say the least. He's been, helping manufacture points. But when we say manufacture points, I mean, we're talking, 13, 14, 15. Mm-hmm. They're going to need to get into the 30s, high 30s to win this football game. And I just don't know if they have the weapons to do it. And just as as soon as we're talking up how the defense played, well, hell, yeah, they got some conditioning in last week playing Ole Miss Rebels, but Ole Miss racked up 24 on them pretty quick in the first half. I think Tennessee can do something similar. Now, they did manage to corral them in the second half, but a lot of that had to do with Ole Miss turnovers. So Tennessee, as long as they don't shoot themselves in the foot here, I think they should have a field day here with Hendon Hooker hooking up with these receivers. Jabari Small is really coming on at the running back spot. And the key to it all, Shane, I mean, we all give all this praise to Josh Heupel and his offense, but you hit on it there. Not only the special teams, but the defense has been playing out of their mind, leading the SEC with tackles for loss. They are just swarming to the ball. I mean, that was the stunning thing last week. I know it was South Alabama, but we expected 40 points to be put up. They were. On the other side, it was 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. And I think we're going to get some of that this week. So I got Vanderbilt scoring even less than you, Shane. I'm going Tennessee 42, Vanderbilt 13. Vols win, and the Vols, let's see, get that cover. Yes, sir. Had to do my little math in my head real quick here.
I love it when you got to get a calculator out. You're doing all right, Mike.
All right, how about this one, Shay? Texas A&M at LSU. The Aggies favored by 6.5 on the road. 45.5 is the over/under. And last season, Texas A&M won 20-7. Who you got in the matchup?
This is when we talked earlier in the week, Mike. I am so afraid of this game. I don't know what we're going to get. Are we going to get a pumped up Texas A&M? Or are we going to get a letdown Texas A&M? Are we going to get an emotional LSU? Or are we going to get the LSU we've seen in, 6 other games this season? The problem is, Mike, I think the biggest problem for me is Jimbo's going there. And believe it or not, these guys do not like each other. This has got some history. This has got some behind the scenes dealings. You think about the athletic director and all the shit that came out of that. I mean, there's Coach O and the fact that this could be his last game. I mean, even if they make a bowl, this may be the last time you see Coach O coaching down there. And Coach O knows these guys. If you know anything about Coach Orgeron, is he is a player's coach, and I think that is a huge X factor in this game. You want to talk about an emotional locker room, we're going to have it. LSU defense here of late has been playing lights out. So Texas A&M cannot come in like they have in some of these other teams and just expect the victory, because if they do, they're going to get beat. I think it's extremely low-scoring game, and I like the talent gap. I still think Texas A&M, believe it or not, Mike, after all of this, I still think they're a top 4 team, man. I think if things would have went different, if the ball would have went their way a few times, I think we could be seriously looking at Texas A&M in the SEC championship. They made crucial mistakes along the way. The problem is now, what are you playing for? You're not going to a college football playoff like you hoped all season long. You're not going to the SEC championship. So is there a little bit of a letdown? Is there some of that, hey, we'll just show up and we'll whoop ass? That's what we've been able to do. I think, Mike, I had this score one way, and I think I'm going to flip it here, brother, because the more I think about this emotional victory, the more I think about Coach Orgeron's last time down there in Baton Rouge, I can't have him walk away a loser, because he's not. He's done a lot of good things down there. He brought them a damn national championship. I think that I think I'm going to go with it, man. Let's go with the big upset this Saturday. Give me Texas A&M 17, LSU 21. Shane. Just flipped it, because more I think about, I'm about to cry thinking about Coach O giving that halftime speech, hugging them boys without a shirt on, he's Burrow in there busting his head against the wall, they're going to get them all fired up and ready to go. So, give me the emotional victory here.
Yeah, I mean, I could certainly see it playing out that way, and some of these players already come out and guaranteed a win for Coach O. And, man, what does that say about Jimbo and the Aggies, though, Shane, if they beat Alabama and they turn around and they finish the regular season 8-4? Man, what a disappointing result that would be. And, I'm not saying, put the guy on the hot seat, but it would just feel like such a missed opportunity, because this was the year you thought it would all come together, and at times it has, and at other times it's just blown up in your face. You finally get over that Alabama hump. You're not consistent enough to finish a deal. So I certainly see why you're picking LSU, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it, Shane, because I think it's going to be kind of like you said, a very low-scoring game. This is probably going to be the first 1 to 20 is going to win this game, Shane, because both these defenses are playing so well, and I know they got plenty of talent on the offensive side of the ball, but it's just not there, particularly at the quarterback position, to be very consistent. So I think it's going to be a very hard-fought, tough game. These LSU A&M games almost always are. And like, we can't forget, it was a couple years ago, there was, a brawl after the game. I mean, there is no love lost between these two. They recruit the same players. They recruit the same players once they hit the transfer portal, and they recruit the same coaches. You know what I mean? So a lot of bad blood here. But I don't know. If you ask me at the end of the day, Shane, which team is more likely to find a way to win in a tough, hard-fought, emotional game, I gotta go the Texas A&M Aggies, and that's why I got the A&M winning 23, LSU 14. But hey, I got no problem with your your prediction there. I certainly could see Coach O and LSU winning this game, and if they do, they're going to carry him off the field like Rudy. You know what?
Well, there's, like you said, there's no reason A&M shouldn't win this game, but I don't know. There's just that fact. You know, I said this the last time. I thought the team checked out. I thought the stadium had checked out. Man, it was electric down there, dude. It was electric when they were there. It was against the Arkansas, man. And they only let 16 points. Think about that. They've only gave up 14 against Monroe, 16 against Arkansas, 20 against Alabama. This defense is playing great. Think about that, man. They've not given up more than 20 points. Well, in my mind, if they can score 21, they can beat just about anybody right now. So that's what I like, is just this defense is playing relentless defense. I know Texas A&M's got good defense. I'm not saying anything about that. This isn't about talent. This is about emotion. This is about raw emotion and momentum. And I think that's what LSU is going to have coming into this game. And if Texas A&M isn't prepared when they hit the ground, they're going to be in trouble, because LSU will not let up.
Mm-hmm. All right, Shay, we got to move on to I had to do a double take when I saw this point spread. Kentucky at Louisville. And I got it wrong, Shane. I thought Kentucky favored by 3. No, sir. Louisville favored by 3. What? Oh, the over-under's 57.5 points. What in the hell? I do not know what's going on with this one, Shane. Who do you like in the matchup?
Well, who do I like? Well, I liked it so damn much, I'm locking it up, Mike. Let me tell you, that's how much I like this game, because, you know, I know what it is, man. Everybody's on this Louisville quarterback. Oh, man, he's God's gift to football. He's the next Lamar, yada, 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 yada. Do you remember the last quarterback we heard that from that came in the SEC and got their ass smoked by the Ole Miss Rebels? Do you remember that guy?
Oh, yeah, Malik Willis?
Absolutely. Malik Willis was going to be the guy. He's going to play on the NFL. He's fantastic. And then they come in and they get smoked. That's what's going to happen here with Louisville, man. Who do you think this is? This is Kentucky Wildcat. Have they had some bad games this year? Absolutely. Have they made some mistakes this year? Absolutely. But to say that these two teams belong on the same football field and actually say Louisville is better, get the hell out of here. Unless there's going to be snow and ice up there, or, you know what I'm saying? Or half the team, Rodriguez didn't show up or something, or the linemen just decided they all got COVID here at the last minute. There is no way that Louisville stands a shot against the Big Blue Nation. I mean, this is giving money. This is printing money right here, Mike. So if you are a gambler and you got an extra $100 burning a hole in your pocket, dude, get out there and put it on the Kentucky Wildcats, because this ain't a game. Mark Stoops, that's the news. Everybody's curious where Stoops going. They're having these emergency meetings and podcasts out there. They want to, get to the bottom of it. Well, there's a reason they want your coach, because teams like Louisville do not win against Stoops, and it won't happen again this year. They own this rivalry. So give me Kentucky 31. Louisville lucky to get 21.
Ooh. Yeah, and you hit on it right there, Shane. That's kind of the hot rumor right now. Mark Stoops to LSU, which would be fascinating, and that's the only way this line makes sense to me. Did he already leave town, or did he tell him he's leaving? Something like that. I mean, I do not get this one bit. Went and looked. Yeah, the Malik Cunningham, the quarterback you mentioned, 36 touchdowns, 18 passing, 18 rushing. But last time I checked, Shane, this ACC is a joke. I mean, yeah. Pitt, I think, is going to win a league up there. And who we got? Wake Forest is running rampant through the ACC this year. I mean, give me a break. Get out of here with this. I got no respect for – they beat Duke last week by 50. I think that's why everybody's hopping on the bandwagon. Well, last time I checked, Shane, Duke, they'd be the – I think Vanderbilt beat Duke by about 30 points. You know what I mean? So
yeah, that's right.
I'm not respecting this Louisville team at all. How are they going to stop Chris Rodriguez and Wan'Dale Robinson? And unless Will Levis, who's already talking a big game, comes out here and lays an egg, and I don't think he can do that when you're talking it up. You know what I mean? So right. This is cocky Will Levis we're getting here. I think, we might get a little bit of a shootout, just given the fact that Cunningham's got all these touchdowns, but it's not going to be enough at the end of the day to get the win here. Louisville is one of their weakest things is defending the run. Well, hell, what's Kentucky's best thing? Running the damn ball. So I think they're going to run all over them. They're going to have their way with them. It certainly seems like Kentucky's offense has hit its groove here the last couple of weeks. Give me Kentucky. Lock of the week. We both locked it up. That's the only curse here. Kentucky wins 35-21. And if Louisville pulls the upset, I apologize to all the listeners here. Shane and I did that to you.
Oh, man. Well, apologize to my bookie, man. And actually, don't apologize to him. Apologize to my wallet. There's no reason I shouldn't make money this week, Mike. Kentucky should not lose to Louisville. They're not going to lose to Louisville. There's no way. This isn't a team you overlook. This isn't a UTEP coming in here on a random Saturday. This is the Louisville. You know what I'm saying? They aren't overlooking this team. These guys hate each other all day long, every day. So in football, in basketball, they don't live that far from each other. A lot of people, I always talk to, you from Kentucky? Yeah. You from Lexington? Oh, hell no. I'm from Louisville. I ain't got to do anything in Lexington. You know what I'm saying? So these guys, it's just in their DNA. So, yeah, this is a statement game. I really do think, and it always has been. I think they come out, they pound the rock, they keep this quarterback in check because he's literally their only form of offense. And then we're going to walk away from this game saying, I cannot believe they had Louisville favorites.
All right, last game, Shane, here. Clemson going on the road to South Carolina. Clemson Tigers favored by 11.5 points. The over-unders 42.5 total points. And they just announced this game is officially a sellout, Shane. South Carolina 5-1 at home this season. Who do you like in the matchup?
Oh, Mike, if there were ever a year, out of all these games that we've gone through, there's not one on here that I hope there's a victory more than this one. You know what I'm saying? I absolutely cannot stand Dabo. If anybody's ever listened to this pod, anytime I got a chance to take a jab at the Clemson Tigers, I'm a-doing it because I'm just tired. They put themselves up on the Mount Olympus as they're the next Alabama. Guess what? You're not. It worked. The gig's up. Clemson, you're going to start sucking. Get out of town while you can, Dabo, or you're not going to have a job here in 3 years. That's what I think happens. And it all starts by a loss from the Gamecocks, brother. And what did I tell you last week? What was the key for South Carolina to win that game? The crowd noise. Well, there ain't nothing louder than a sold-out stadium in a rivalry week. I'm telling you right now. They are going to be sands. They're already doing it right now. They're practicing. I bet that thing's on loop down there in Columbia because South Carolina is going to come out. They're going to play some Beamer ball, and they haven't been pretty, brother. Okay, but there's a lot of people talking about Beamer being the coach of the year. Why? Because he has found ways to win games he's not supposed to. This is a game they're not supposed to win. But I really do think this is the year. When you look at Wikipedia, you jump on there. This streak has never gone to 7 games but once, and it ain't the 30s anymore, Mike. I think the streak ends again this year. Give me the South Carolina Gamecocks with the upset, 28. Baby Clemson, 27.
Yeah, key matchup in this one, Shane. Clemson's defensive front, all these supposed studs they have. South Carolina's offensive line has been very inconsistent all season long, up and down. 1 week they show up, 1 week they don't. That has got to be key in this football game. But I love the fact it looks certainly to me like South Carolina's found their answer at quarterback with Jason Brown. He has been the answer, in my opinion, at under center that South Carolina's been missing all season. We got this defense heating up. I know they gave up an early 14 to Auburn, but after that they shut that down real quick. The crowd, I love what you said there about these fans, Shane. They are willing this team to victory, and it just feels like they're bought in, and everyone's buying into the Shane Beamer hype and what he's building there. The players are bought in. They're not. How many times would a team give up down 14-0 against an Auburn Tigers? How many teams would believe they could beat the Florida Gators? Hell, South Carolina rarely ever beats them Florida Gators. Yet
Right.
They are getting it done one step at a time. I was hyping up Beamer today on Twitter, and a Tennessee fan, Shane, anytime I mention Beamer, the Vols got to get it on. There's that famous photo where he's celebrating, and it's, what is the score, like 28-3.
Yeah.
But they've turned it around, Shane. If they get a win here, they're 4-2, and I think that's the point for Beamer being Coach of the Year, because it's the lowest of the lows. How many times we just saw Florida Gators run off a coach because they couldn't get it back. We seen LSU run off a coach because it started to crumble. They couldn't get it back. Instead of crumbling, which would have been so easy for the Gamecocks to do, they turned that thing around and they went the opposite direction. So they are riding a wave of momentum. We've been saying all season, this Clemson quarterback, DJ, whatchamacallit, he is overrated as hell. We've seen him get exposed against Georgia. Now that he's having a little bit of success against ACC, everybody's jumping on the bandwagon. Well, I ain't buying it, brother. I'm right there with you. Honda Morristown upset special of rivalry weekend. South Carolina 21, Clemson 20. If the Gamecocks win this one, Shane, I think it's got to be a low-scoring affair. You may have to get a defensive touchdown, but I got the faith in this home crowd to will this team to victory. And I hope they storm the field. I hope they tear down the goalposts. And
That's
I
what
hope
I'm saying.
they send Dabo home crying.
They deserve it, man. They deserve it. They should put up a damn fund me page for, what is it, $250? Doesn't matter. It's worth it. If part of that, you know what I'm saying? If I could get part of them uprights in my living room, I'm taking it, because they deserve it through the last 6 years of Dabo's BS. I am over him, man. This is the start, baby. This is the start, and I can't wait to hear him squabble on the sideline about every little thing that didn't go his way, man.
Well, hey, buddy, this has been a very long pod, so let's cut it here. But, before we jump off, just want to say real quick, Shane, very, very appreciative to all the fans. That's what I'm thankful for you keep supporting the show. Otherwise, I'd have to go out and get a real job. And right there with the fans, I want to say heartfelt thankful to have you, buddy, in my life, helping this thing go along. You are the reason I keep this thing going, because you're the entertaining one. I'm just a guy that keeps showing up. So I do appreciate you. I appreciate the audience. And those are two of the things I'm most thankful for this Thanksgiving.
Absolutely, man. Well, I appreciate you, man. I won't forget the day you asked me to come on. I think you lost a guest or something like that, and you said, "Hey, can you come in at least once a week?" And I said, "Yeah, I can do that." And hell, we had so much fun, man. It ended up sticking around, becoming its own thing. And I'm telling you, Mike, if it weren't for you, everybody knows that this thing would not be moving. Because I'm not the computer guy. The stuff that you do behind the scenes to make this work, the interviews you line up for the fans, the strenuous time that you spend on our YouTube channel getting these coach clips out and everything, so you guys have easy access to the information you want. I mean, that's all Mike. We ain't got a team. It's just the three of us. My brother helps a little bit when he can't, when he's not surfing there in Hawaii. He'll pitch in and help. But I'm telling you, brother, if it's not for you guys, obviously I wouldn't have the pod either. So, and if it wasn't for the fans, I wouldn't have kept doing it. The first year was fun. The second year it turned into a job. That's exactly what it is. So after work, you got to get all this stuff together. We got a pod, we got to record, we got to upload. He edits. It's a part-time gig, man. But we do it for you guys, because when I was driving to work, I didn't have a show that I could listen to around the league. I can listen to my Tennessee stuff, but I want to know what else is going on out there, especially with the teams I'm playing. So this was Mike's idea through and through, and it just kind of became what it is, and it continues because of you guys. So I appreciate everybody out there that has, especially those reviews. I know we get lazy and we don't read them off all the time, but damn, they help us so much. If you could get on an iPhone or an Apple product and put a 5-star written review, man, it means a lot to us. And if you do, got a koozie. And I'd love to see some koozies, brother. I'd love to see some beer koozies around Thanksgiving so we can be sure to send them out on social media. Retweet the pod if you can. Anything like that, that's what helps us, and we do it for you. So, Mike, that's what I'm thankful for. Thankful for you. Thankful for my family. My wife, you know, not giving me a hard time for doing these podcasts in the evenings. You know what I'm saying? I think she's kind of enjoying this a little bit, you know, catch up on her shows and everything. But, yeah, I couldn't have done it without a great support staff. So, Mike, this has been a hell of a year, and I look forward to a lot more seasons with you.
Absolutely. Well, brother, let's cut it there. We hope everybody has a happy and safe Thanksgiving. Enjoy some great food. Enjoy some great football, and we'll catch you on the next one.
All right. See you guys. Go Vols. And get that damn green bean casserole out of here.